Welcome to the Cruising is Life podcast. Whether you're a seasoned cruiser or just starting out, we have something for everyone. So sit back, relax, and get ready to set sail with us on the Cruising is Life podcast.
All right. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Cruising is Life podcast. Welcome back for another episode, to episode 26. Crazy, we're getting up there in the numbers we've been doing. I feel like I say this every week, but we're really killing it. We found a good groove here in the podcast, so glad to see that this is actually sticking around and we're doing really good with it. But how's it going, guys? We're joined by our normal co-host Justin, and Dimitri's back.
Hey guys, what's up?
We finally got Justin and Dimitri in the same podcast.
Oh boy, get ready for a wild one.
Dimitri are friends.
What best friends?
Yeah.
The bestest.
But yeah, so we're gonna be talking a lot about a lot of what is in store for Norwegian Cruise Line over the next couple of years. I guess the next decade, because these are pretty much planned out for the next several years. But a lot of exciting news from Norwegian lately.
Yeah, it seems like they finally realized that they're falling behind, so now they're trying to do something, which I love. I think it's great.
Right.
Yeah,
exactly.
They need to do this like 2 months ago.
Yes.
For real. And I feel like Prima and Viva have really served their purpose as far as trying to become more traditional type cruising, and just smaller ships. I know that was something that not the entire industry's been wanting, but a lot of people in the industry are wanting, is smaller ships. Because honestly, for me, not necessarily, but the Oasis class is a pretty intimidating ship, and now we have something even bigger with the Icon class. So right. I mean, it's crazy. Not everybody's gonna want those Oasis class ships.
No, and I definitely know a couple people who are like, no Oasis for me. They're way too big, blah, blah, blah. I need something smaller.
Right, exactly. I think the biggest problem with the Prima class, and of course I haven't been on them, Dimitri, I know you were supposed to be on one. Sorry to bring that up.
Don't remind me.
But I feel like the biggest thing I hear about them is, and I say this a lot, is that there's a lot of stuff, or most of the stuff, if not all the stuff, from the Encore and the Bliss onto a smaller ship, to where now we have a smaller ship with too much stuff.
Yeah, that's really the main problem with the Prima class, or Leonardo class, whatever you want to call it. When you build a smaller ship, you're not really supposed to put more things, or at least the same amount of things that are on bigger ships. So I think they kind of messed up with that. I mean, there's no really coming back from it at this point. They've got one almost done, or pretty well underway, and 3 more to come. But yeah, I mean, it's good to see that they're trying to do something kind of more trendy with the rest of the cruise industry.
Right. And
I mean, I think right now that they're treating them kind of as their flagships. I think in a couple of years, people will appreciate them because they're going to do all the exotic stuff and not be stuck on the 7 days, on, every single, they're going to be doing something different than everybody else. So I think it'll work out for them. That would be a great ship for Alaska. I mean, I know they're going to have all three Bliss, Encore, and Joy all in Alaska next year. I don't know if you guys know.
3 of them?
That's gonna be the first,
I didn't know
that. The first time they're all going to be
Wow. I didn't realize they were going to do all 3 of them. That's crazy.
Because Joy's in New York this year. She just went from Miami to New York this week, right? And then Encore's on its way over there, and Bliss has been sailing there for the past couple weeks.
Wow. Yeah.
So next year they're going to do all 3.
She pretty much stayed over in Los Angeles last year. She came over for
she kept doing Panama Canal cruises back and forth. She just went back and forth.
Yeah, they seem to do really well with that class of ship. Honestly, is so good for that itinerary, and doing a itinerary like that, it's so cool. But those are perfect ships for it. So I feel like they should do it more often. Or I guess I like that they do those often. Not many cruise lines really offer, especially full transits. Royal Caribbean definitely doesn't, and Carnival usually offers partials. So it's really cool, that something that really only NCL offers.
Definitely.
Yeah, and it's funny that they're going from, honestly, I would say the Breakaway Plus class, and even the Breakaway Class too, is probably one of the best designs of ships and like the best ship classes, I would say. Arguably, of course, that's always an opinion, but I would say that's honestly one of the best classes of ships ever made.
Agreed.
I mean, even with all the extra space.
Which one? Sorry, I think I blanked out.
Uh-oh.
Welcome
back.
Welcome back. The Breakaway, and more specifically the Breakaway Plus, but even the Breakaway kind of falls in that category.
Gotcha.
But yeah, I would say those are probably the best.
For sure. Yeah, I mean, I went on Escape and Getaway and loved both those cruises. I know I had my issues with Epic not too long ago, but the Breakaway and I guess what are they? The Breakaway Plus class ships. Yeah. Especially as you got on to like the newer ones, they kind of tweaked a few things here and there. So they did a good job with that class.
Yeah, that's what I'm looking forward to most about our Joy cruise is the fact that I'm getting back on that class. Because like I've done Getaway twice, which the Breakaway Plus are definitely better, but the Getaway is a very good ship. But I spent about 2 weeks on her, and then I did a 15-day on Bliss, and wow, that was such an incredible cruise and like such a great ship to do that on. So like even 8 days at sea that cruise was, and honestly it didn't really ever get old, which is kind of the awesome
I was going to say you can't complain about that on that ship.
Right. Like the 8th day at sea as we're kind of making our final approach into Los Angeles, I was like, all right, yeah, I mean, I've kind of run out of things to do. You definitely have to pace yourself to get to that point, but like, that's 8 days at sea before you go, all right, I think I'm good.
Right.
So that alone says a lot. I mean, most of the time, you're either getting on a ship and you're like, all right, I didn't do anything because it was way too short, or I did everything in one day.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
But then, and carrying over to the Prima class and like what they're currently doing, and I think they have learned their lesson, as far as them being a little bit maybe not too small, but just as far as spacing and everything. But Prima's 3 and 4, which are Aqua, and then the one to follow, those are 10% bigger. Those are going to be about the same size as Freedom of the Seas, about 155-ish thousand tons, which is good. And then 5 and 6 are going to be 20% bigger, which I believe are supposed to be bigger than Encore. So at that point,
I think that's where I'd put it at. Yeah, because Encore's what, like 170,
168, 169, I think,
something like that.
So yeah, I think the last two, would you call it a Prima Plus? It would be, the last two Primas though are going to be over 170. I think it's like 172 or something like that is the math.
Mm-hmm.
But I like that they're doing that. I mean, they started with the small ones, and I think, and like Dimitri said earlier, I think those are going to hold a special place in the market, especially as the, Royal Caribbean rolls out their next project with these smaller ships that they're saying they're going to do. I think once that starts to pick up in a trend, because I'm sure once Royal Caribbean does it, it's going to pick up and actually become a thing in the market. So, I think those are going to gain in popularity as they age, but I think to start out with, they weren't the best received. And Viva's already getting some renovations or like touch-ups done with it already.
She is, which is very surprising. I'm very shocked.
Yeah. I don't know do you know exactly what they're doing?
They're taking away the Speedway bar and putting in the kids club, or I guess moving the kids club. And then for the Galaxy Pavilion, I don't know if they're extending it or adding new games or whatever, but something like that.
At least they're adding to it instead of taking it away.
Yeah, exactly.
That's the one thing, and of course I'm booked on Joy, but like that was the one thing I was looking forward to. Or I mean, not the one thing, but that was one of the things I was looking most forward to is the Galaxy Pavilion. Like that looks so cool, and they just took it out.
And
it's a spa now. I'm like, ugh.
It's a spa. The spa on Joy in the first place was fine. Like I don't know what they needed to change.
I think they wanted to make her a little bit closer to what Bliss is, because Bliss is a spa.
Has like the whole thermal thing,
Yeah, which is unfortunate.
Blah, blah, blah.
Still excited for the Joy, but I'm definitely upset about that. But I guess to kind of transition to what the big news of the week, and I would say probably the big news of April really, is Norwegian Cruise Line Holdings, which is the parent company. They've ordered 8 ships over the next 10 years, which is pretty impressive.
Very.
2 to go to Regent Seven Seas, 2 are going to Oceania, which actually those are pretty impressive. That I think it's Seven Seas is getting 77,000 ton ships, which is pretty good for them. I mean, those,
Pretty decent.
I think their ships mostly aren't more than 40, 50,000 tons. They're little guys. And of course, those are luxury cruise lines. So I mean, they're not going to appeal to the same market. And those are kind of where the majority of the cruisers that want small ships, that's typically where they're going to go anyways, is those luxury cruise lines that have those ships.
Right. Yeah. But that's definitely a big jump for them. I guess even just the luxury market to have a ship. Not that it's like huge or anything, but they're those types of ships are typically pretty small. So it'll be interesting to see what they do.
Right.
Well,
Exactly.
the new competition from Ritz-Carlton, Silver Sea, all those ones.
Right.
They got to step it up because you guys saw like the one when you guys went on Liberty that was in Fort Lauderdale. It looked nice.
Oh, Silver Nova.
I mean,
I looked really good.
Yeah, for a small luxury ship, I mean that thing was huge.
Yeah.
I'd probably no more than 60, 70,000 tons. I don't know off the top of my head with some of these smaller
Bring it to
cruise lines.
Tampa.
Bring it to Tampa. Honestly, I think that would be a really cool ship to have in Tampa. I don't know if Tampa's the market
that would
for
be
it.
awesome.
I don't know if
As a
Tampa's
stop,
quite the
not
market
as a
for that.
Port
But
thing, but make it a stop.
Tampa's kind of a big party market, I would say, but I don't know if that would be the
Viking
best
has been
ship.
doing really good too.
Yeah, Viking has been doing really well. I know they kind of more stay over in Europe, I feel like. But was that a Viking ship that we saw in Fort Lauderdale on the way back in? Was that Star?
Yeah, Viking Star.
Okay, yeah.
Oh, that's right.
That was cool. I mean, that's a little guy too. I mean, that's probably no more than 50,000 tons. So, Silver Sea just jumping up to, or not Silver Sea, Regent Seven Seas, jumping up to 77. I mean, that's big for that market. That's not even, I think that's where that market's going, is that they're getting bigger too, but they're not gonna. I don't think we're ever gonna see something from that sector of the cruise industry get more than 100,000. I don't think.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree with that. I mean, that'd be pretty crazy to have a ship that big that offers the same kind of amenities that these smaller ships are kind of known for, like you have less people, so the crew have more people or less people to handle, so you get more of that kind of like a real personal kind of experience. So I think once you get over a certain size, you start running into those kind of problems. So yeah, I would agree with that.
Yeah.
Right. Exactly. And that's also, the opposite of what that market looks for. I mean, they're looking for the small, intimate feeling and the more traditional cruising. So, the big ships are the exact opposite of why people are even going on those ships in the first place. And so, I think at some point they will probably level off and stop getting bigger, but those are also ships that I don't think we're ever going to see one over 100,000. And you can't fill something that big. I think you're paying so much money to go on those small luxury ships like that. That you're not going to get 4,000 or 5,000 ton or 4,000 or 5,000 passengers all to pay, 10, 15, off the top of my head, $10,000 to $15,000 for a 2-week cruise or a 1-week cruise. So I mean, it's at some point they are going to flatten off, but I think this is definitely a big step in the right direction for that sector of the industry.
Yep.
Yeah, definitely.
Yep. And then I think those are set for, I think one is in 27 and one was in 29. And then I think Oceania got 86,000 ton ships, which are even bigger, which is awesome to see. Oceania is 86,000. I think those are due. One's in 26 and one's in 28. I don't know those ones off the top of my head, but so those two smaller luxury lines for Norwegian are probably going to be doing really well here once those start rolling out.
Are they all being built by Fincantieri, or
to my knowledge, yes.
Being built by someone else?
Let me pull it up. Let's see here.
I mean, I'd imagine so if they made the order with them and just combined them all.
Yeah, I to my knowledge, yes, it should be. Here it is. Let's see. Yeah, they should all be with Fincantieri. But of course, the big news is the 200,000 ton ships for Norwegian Cruise Line themselves, which is going to be amazing to see. Which I guess is kind of where we've been the whole time as we've been talking about Norwegian to this point. So, and a lot of this is just going to be speculation, just talking about what they can do, where they're at now and how they improve on what they're already doing.
Get rid of the racetrack.
Yes.
Really?
Yes.
See,
Completely, just get rid of it.
See, with the 200,000 ton, yeah, that's fair. They probably should have done
say,
that.
Oh, we have the only racetrack at sea. They can just keep that because I don't think anybody else is going to be doing it.
I don't think so.
I doubt it.
I really doubt it. I'm surprisingly, going from the Breakaway Plus class, I feel like they did really well in the Breakaway Plus class, and that's why they tried. But, the Prima class, just a little bit too small to be throwing a go-kart on it. I mean, that's like you're throwing a go-kart on, the Voyager of the Seas, pretty much.
Yeah.
And that's not going to work.
No.
But I feel like if they were going to bring it back, I feel like a 200,000 ton ship would be the one to do it on.
Yes.
Yeah, but I think they messed up too big with the Prima class, so hopefully they're a little,
Yeah.
scared to do it. But yeah, that would be the right ship to do it on. But I think they need to focus maybe on, maybe a bigger water park like what Royal Caribbean did, or do like a big.
Just either water park or like a ropes course or something, and not charge $90 to go on it.
Oh
right.
God, I'm looking at you.
Roasted. I didn't see anybody on that when I was on Icon.
I've always seen like videos of 2 people on it in social media.
It's
like,
always
why would you pay?
It was always the workers because they were probably bored. I never saw anybody on that for $90 to go. It was free. It's free to do it on all the other cruise lines. Of course, yeah, you don't get actually Carnival on the Mardi Gras, the XL ships. You do go over the side with the zip lines, but like that's free.
That's scary too on that one.
Yeah, like that's free.
It's intimidating.
It's free on Norwegian. It's free on the Dream class, the Vista class, the Sunshine class, like all the Carnival ships. It's free. And then you got Royal Caribbean that's got a 5-second little loop of a zip line. It's free on the Oasis class.
So
You're
ridiculous.
you're not going over the side of the ship for granted, but like $90. I literally did not see anybody on it on the Icon. It was so funny.
So ridiculous.
It was crazy. But yeah, I think Norwegian has the ability to maybe take what they've learned with the Viva or the Prima class, as far as, what works and what doesn't work, and also improve on what they did really well with the Breakaway Plus ships. Like, I feel
True, and I wonder if they're gonna follow, like, do like an MSC Seaside and do like the large like promenade deck on the sides and add like the pools like they did on Viva, or they're gonna go the World America route and do a split superstructure. Who knows?
Oh, actually, this would be this and the Carnival project and they're both coming out of Fincantieri, so there's possible that these do end up being similar looking. But it's definitely possible that we see the first 200,000 ton ship that's not a split superstructure. Because they all are.
That would be
True,
great.
they all are.
I think Disney.
I mean, there is no real gain from it. I mean,
No, there's not.
I'd rather prefer that. I mean, besides, it can charge more for balcony rooms instead of inside rooms.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah, there's no significance behind it. I think it's just a trend with all of the ships. I mean, it's only the Oasis class and the Icon class, and then you just now got the World class ships from MSC, but that's split open in the back. Technically, Disney Adventure the back end is closed off, but the middle of the ship is hollowed out and split. So it's just not open in the back like all the other ones. But that's technically a split superstructure too. So I mean, it's possible that we see that we see it closed off and just kind of a first for that type of ship.
Yeah, that would give you a lot more space on the upper decks to do stuff. I mean, imagine what you could do with that whole area being filled in. I mean, that would be crazy.
That would be so crazy.
Even, I mean, not that I would put a pool there, but like, just picture if you took the top deck of the Oasis and just made it complete deck space, but instead of the open area, even just in the first half of like the Central Park area, if you just made that like a pool, one, that's definitely the largest pool at sea, but like that's a huge area. Like you could do so much with that.
Yeah. That would be crazy.
Or, and I mean, they got the Haven thing going for them, so they could do that as like the Haven area, but then leave the whole top deck for actual paying people, like normal people.
Your average Joe Schmo.
Exactly. Even though they're probably going to cost an arm and a leg anyways.
Yeah.
Oh, a cruise on that thing would be $10,000 a person. For like 3 nights.
That's something I'm hoping that NCL kind of starts to fix as they come out of the Prima class and into this new one, is their pricing structure. They seem to be pricing themselves and marketing themselves towards a similar market and consumer base as Celebrity and Princess, but they offer the same. They offer the same style of cruising as Royal and Carnival. You're paying for one, but you're getting something else.
Royal Caribbean is not any better.
No, Royal Caribbean's not any. Royal Caribbean's become just as bad, but
for sure.
Royal Caribbean's not doing anything more than what they've ever done before. All they're doing is they're saying, "Hey, your kids can sail half off," and that's
for the last 4 years.
For the last 4 years, so that.
True.
You would never, I mean, you would, but you would never see more than like 20, 30 kids on a Royal Caribbean cruise, 10 years ago. The Icon, even the Liberty a couple weeks ago, they were crawling with kids. You used to never see kids on a Royal Caribbean cruise.
That's just the market.
I never cruised as a kid on Royal.
Neither did I.
It's
my first Royal cruise wasn't until 2010.
Yeah. It's crazy. I that's one thing I dislike about Royal Caribbean right now is I think I get it, like they're trying to build the ultimate family vacation and this and that, like with the Icon class, but I mean there's a lot of people that have
they got their hands in the pots everywhere.
Yeah, they've got their hand in every pot, which is great for them, but you're also agitating your original consumer base as well.
Right.
Not that I'm one of the original consumers of Royal Caribbean or anything like that, but I mean 10 years ago it was a market that was like, just not adults only, but very close to adults only, and that's what they liked about Royal, is that there was very small number of kids and they didn't have to deal with it. This was a couple years ago. My parents actually, when they sailed on a Harmony, the kids next door to them were so bad, my parents actually had to move down the hall halfway through their cruise.
Yeah.
That's wild.
Yeah, it was bad. Like it's just getting like that on Royal Caribbean. That's one thing I hope they not necessarily that I hope they change, but I hope they improve on, is just not marketing to little kids. I think, teens, whatever, the teens cause chaos, but I mean, the babies are kind of the loud ones. So it is what it is, though. I mean, it's a vacation. You're supposed to spend time with your kids and your family for vacation. So I get it in one sense, but at the same time, it's just a weird turn that they've taken because that's something they've never done before.
Right. And I think where we're at this point, I hope this is where we're at, is that, Royal Caribbean has pretty much filled that. How would you describe it? That void that was there, like that family market. They've done so many ships and have a lot that are already coming out that are going to cater to that.
Mm-hmm.
So hopefully, like, even if it's Project Discovery, they kind of go back
Oh,
to
absolutely.
their like original like clientele. Because how many of these family style vacation ships do you have to like build? Like, I think having 7 Oasis class and at least 3 Icon class is okay for now.
Oh,
Like,
absolutely.
That's
I think
enough.
that pretty much covers it. Like, they don't need anything else to help that.
They've scratched
So-
that itch.
Right, exactly.
Very much
I
so.
think hopefully their next class of ship, goes in the direction of the old style.
Yeah. And I think that next class of ship, the Project Discovery, whenever that gets announced, but that's definitely not going to be something that's going to be aimed towards family. That is going to be something that's aimed for longer cruises, whether it's 7, whether it's 12s, European long voyages, whatever it is. But those ships are not going to be family vacations. Those are going to be like old, not old school traditional, but they're going to be modernized small ships, which
They're going to throw
aren't
a
made
water
for that.
park on that somewhere. Is my okay?
They'll probably-
fine. A water slider 2, fine, call it a day. But
Right.
Yeah.
beyond
You're not going to
that,
get the Category 6 that you see on Icon. No way.
Right.
Yeah.
You may not even get what you see on the Oasis class.
In your area, or whatever is zip lines and
Right.
ultimate abyss water, or slides like that. So
Right.
Mhm.
it's okay to go back to the original way for a few ships. It's okay.
Yeah, at least. And I think that's what NCL's done pretty well in that sense, is that I think they did kind of go towards that market, and I think they did a good job with it. The execution
Yeah.
wasn't 100% there, but I think they're also learning. And again, they're already making changes to Viva, so they're clearly learning something here, and they're also making them maybe not overly oversized, but they are making the next couple bigger just to improve upon what they've already done.
Right.
But
I
then
see somebody in the comment said Royal wanting to compete with Disney. I don't think that's their market.
Yeah. That's a very specific market.
but at the same time, they're also advertising the Icon class as not a theme park, but they're advertising it as like, you can either spend a few days or spend a week at Disney World, or you can spend a week and have just as much fun and do bigger and better things and go to different countries on our Icon class. Like, that's how they've marketed the Icon classes. They're like, it's a floating theme park, but it's pretty close.
That's how they.
The ship looks like a floating theme park.
To compete with the Orlando.
Yeah, exactly. Especially with Star, they're marketing it like that, and Utopia.
Yeah.
But I guess back on topic of these 200,000 ton ships, though.
Sorry, let's go back.
So if we're not gonna do the go-karts, which I think you two are against it. I'm kind of a toss-up because I think it'd probably do a little bit better than the previous ships on a bigger one. I don't think they belong in the Prima class, but I think a 200,000 ton ship. I think they did really well in the Breakaway Plus, so I think maybe something bigger.
Like if they keep that size cart track on the bigger ship, fine. Put it all the way at the back so nobody has to hear it, and it's not anybody's way. Or put it at the front. Do something. Put it out of the way. But I think they definitely need a water park because, they did a pretty good job when Getaway Breakaway came out. That was pretty cool at that same time.
Right.
What do you call it? Vista class was coming out, and they were doing some things.
Right. And I think the Aqua looks really good too.
Yeah, I think that's great, and it's gonna be some sort of raft slide, I'd imagine. And
which is funny because they're advertising that as like the first Aqua coaster at sea. I'm like, didn't Disney do that 12 years ago?
Yeah, for real.
The Disney Dream class. But
yeah, I don't know where they got that from.
I don't know where they got that marketing from, but I think Disney did that about 12, 13 years ago.
Yeah, for real.
But I do think Aqua is 10 times better in that aspect just because they took out the go-kart tracks.
Yeah,
so
100%.
But with 200,000 tons, again, there's so much more deck space. I think you have the ability to do something like that with the big water park. But not only that, but you could probably add the big go-kart track on the top. And I don't think I don't think they should do these big, giant ones like they have on the Breakaway Plus class, but the multi-level ones, the multi-levels is kind of where they took the size of the Prima class to their advantage, or not advantage of, but they spun it to be a little bit better because they made it 3 decks, or like there's 3 levels to that go-kart track on the Prima class, so they got a lot more track and a lot more bang for your buck for smaller space. So I think I like that, what they did with the go-kart track on that ship. It just doesn't belong on that ship. So I feel like if we took something similar sized on these 200,000 ton ships, I think the go-kart tracks would be fine.
Mm-hmm.
Or something new.
Or something new. I mean,
or something
let's
new.
not just put a swing on the side of the ship and call it a day.
Oh my God.
Lazy River
I'm pointing at you.
Lazy River. We've been talking about this the last couple, next gen project podcasts that we've done.
Right.
I mean, you could do it probably.
Doesn't have to be anything crazy.
That center section on the Oasis class, that's the giant hole going down to Central Park. Make that a deck. A Lazy River could fit in there perfectly.
True.
That would be awesome.
Not that. So these aren't going to be just barely 200,000 ton ships from what I'm hearing. They aren't going to be just 200 flat, but they're not going to be Oasis sized. I think we're going to see
210, 205.
Yeah.
I think we're going to see 215, 220 probably. I think with the Oasis class being 225, I think we're going to see something very, very close to the Oasis, but not quite.
Yeah, that would be crazy. They have a lot of potential for this, and I really hope they just
don't mess it up.
They just don't mess it up. Please.
Don't mess it up. That's
their ships are...
email. I'll help you.
Yeah. Hire me, Norwegian. I'll help you design. I'll come up with ideas for you.
Yeah.
Well,
this is what I do in my free time.
Pay me.
Yeah. Well, you could pay me, or just let me go on the ships for free. Let me.
Yeah, I would take that.
I work from home. Let me just work from home on the ship,
on the ship.
I'll just quit my job.
Let me bring my cat, and that's. And let me bring my cat and my computer
Captain
set
Kate?
up. Yeah. The bear's going to be all over the place. She's going to be screaming at everybody on the ship.
Great. Just what we need.
And I wonder what they're going to do the names. I had posted on Instagram, on my story. What do people think the names are going to be? Oh, I got everything in the trash can. On the kitchen sink. From people guessing what they're going to be named.
Yeah, the Norwegian trash can.
Houston,
sponsored by the Houston Astros.
The kitchen sink, the trash can. Everybody was just guessing a little bit of everything. It was all over the place.
The Norwegian trash can, sponsored by the Houston Astros.
Yes. Yes. They could put a big Houston Astros logo on the side of the ship.
Good stuff. Good stuff. I mean, I don't even know where they would go with some. I mean, I don't know where they're going to go with some of these Prima class names. I think, Prima class, they seem to be doing,
random
ends with an A. It's the Prima, Viva, Aqua. I've heard some of the names that haven't been used, and they all end with A too. So I mean, yeah. I mean, it's possible that we're just going to get names that start with or that end with A, with these Prima class. But what are they going to do with these next ships? I mean, yeah, they all kind of stick to the same
they could
theme.
go back to their sunward, starward, westward. They could do that
would be so
east
cool.
west for the 4.
That would be cool.
That would actually be really cool.
Norwegian Dream. They could do Norwegian Dream.
That would be
that I like. I think
That's
they've used that before. I think it was Norwegian Dream and Majesty were some of the
That's what I was saying.
most
Yeah,
recent
yeah.
ones to be retired years ago.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm all for, if it's a couple ships, I'm all for it. Carnival. I do like what they did with the XL ships, with the naming of it. I think it was a significant turning point in Carnival's history with their new builds. So I like that they did that. I mean, they feel like a brand new, not a brand new Carnival ship, but a brand new, start for Carnival and a new era of cruising, a new era of ships for Carnival. So I mean, it kind of perfect to bring in the Mardi Gras again with something like that. So if that's what they're planning to do with these 200,000 ton ships, it'd be cool.
I mean, that makes sense because it's their first gamble into the mega ships, so might as well go back to the beginning and do their first ship's naming structure.
Yeah, exactly. And again, take what's good about the Breakaway Plus class ships, and honestly, I think they should bring back the ropes course. Norwegian did so good with the ropes course.
I definitely agree.
And a rock climbing wall.
Yeah, they should do something crazy like that. Like, they have those they're like fun parks, like indoor fun parks, and they just have like ropes courses and zip lines and stuff. They should do something like big like that, where like the zip line kind of like the zigzags like in a little part of the course and different obstacles. Oh, I would love that.
Yeah, something like that would be cool. And even Carnival Panorama is the only ship to have it. I'm surprised. Actually, I wouldn't be surprised if somebody's already broken an ankle.
Oh, like the trampoline.
The trampoline park, Sky Zone. Like, that's so cool. On a cruise ship, I'm amazed that there's no lawsuits coming out of that. But, I mean, yeah.
Didn't they take it off of?
No, they took out IMAX.
They took out the theater.
Yeah.
I gotcha.
Yeah. But, and they also could learn a couple things off of the Icon class. I mean, again, and I like one of the chats that I see here from Kevin that says, Royal Caribbean's a brand that's going to focus on innovations and growth, and larger ships are absolutely going to be the normal. I know, so I absolutely agree, and they're always going to be like kind of the leader when it comes to things like that. I'm interested to see, because they've talked about Project Discovery and how it's going to be smaller and lead the way for those replacing those smaller ships. But that's the big ships, the mega ships, are always going to be Royal's bread and butter, and I think that is absolutely where the industry is going with everybody. So Carnival's got these 200,000 ton ships unannounced, but they're coming. And now Norwegian just locked in these and actually announced these 200,000 ton ships. So, I mean, that's definitely where the industry is going. I don't know if we're going to see anything remotely as big as Icon anytime soon, but, it seems like everybody else in the industry is starting to finally catch up, 10, 12, 15 years later.
Yeah, definitely. But it's good to see. Better late than never. So I think they're trying to get back to the game.
I think it was that Royal Caribbean just was so far ahead of their time, and just with the Oasis class, they were ahead of their time, but they were also at the perfect time.
Yeah.
Like, they ushered in the era that we're in right now, but they were able to do that 12, 13, 14, 15 years ago, which is incredible. The fact that they could pull off the Aqua Theater alone back in 2009, oh my God.
That was huge. That was a game changer.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's really what...
That's something I'd expect, and I'm not surprised is on Icon, but like the fact that they did that way back then it's incredible.
Yeah.
They definitely scored, because I mean, another thing, cruising entertainment, after 8 p.m. people are going to be bored, and you gotta show up or not be there at all.
Right, exactly. Yeah.
So, I think definitely showed up.
And I think, NCL, I definitely think is one of the cruise lines that do the shows, like the late night shows. I wouldn't say better than anybody else, but they do very, very good, and they do like the Broadway type shows. Like, they've got Jersey Boys on the Bliss. They've got Footloose. Is it Footloose on the Joy?
I can't remember.
I couldn't even tell you. I have no idea.
But like their late night shows on Norwegian, like their entertainment team and like their performers are some of the best out there. I would say they're probably neck and neck with Royal Caribbean. I don't know if I would say one is better than the other. I would say that the Aqua Theater show, the Aqua Dome show.
That's more of a wow factor.
Yeah, those are more wow factors, but at the same time they also have Broadway shows like Grease. I didn't see Grease. That was actually the Harmony, but what was it? Hairspray on the Symphony. That was really good. Wizard of Oz on Icon, 10 out of 10. It was so good. So I mean, and it's definitely up there, and I think NCL is definitely up there with Royal Caribbean when it comes to that. So I wonder, what kind of venues and what they can do with that type of space. Are they going to do what Royal Caribbean does? Are they going to have, just like the typical theater up in the front of the ship at the bottom, and then just like a crazy wow factor type theater too? Or are they going to just throw it all into one, or I mean, what could they do with something like this?
They could do a lot. I mean, they could take a space that would normally be used for like, I don't know, whatever Norwegian has, and make it some kind of entertainment venue.
Whatever they have reserved for like the Spice H2O, make that area a theater experience. Even
Right.
like I was telling you guys, I saw like videos on the new Princess ship. That like area that turns from a pool to a stage, and they got like the rope stuff. Cool. Make it something like that where it can be a dual purpose.
Oh, I
area,
love that.
Not just
Right. I love that, actually. That would be so cool. Like Spice H2O by day, and then, as it gets later on the day, starts getting dark, people tend to clear out of that
Shows.
space anyways. Hey, all right, 6:00, get out. We got to get
Right.
time to get the performers in here. We got a show at 8:00. Chop chop.
Right.
I mean, yeah, people wouldn't be too excited and too thrilled about being kicked out at 6:00, but I mean, if you can, and you got 200,000 tons worth of ship to work with here, and so much space to work with on a ship like that, so you can go other places at 6:00. You have other lounges and other relaxation areas. So I mean, I think that.
And I wonder if they're going to introduce like a promenade in the middle of a ship. Like obviously the Oasis class have that, but Norwegian doesn't have anything like that at all. Besides kind of like the 6, 7, 8. But
that would be sweet.
That would be really cool.
Like with all the shops, I think that would be very good for them.
MSC has that, right?
I was just thinking about that.
On the World America class, they do, and what
I always thought it was the Meraviglia, but
well, that one too.
That's it.
Yeah, that one started it because
Okay.
it wasn't on
I think-
Seascape. It wasn't on
Okay.
Seascape, but
I think that would be really good on NCL. I think a concept like that is what they're doing on the Meraviglia Plus chips. I think that would work perfectly, especially on these. That would be
that'd be really
good.
cool. That'd be huge for
I
them.
want those so bad.
And it opens up the ship a little bit more. I know one thing, with these Breakaway Plus ships, yeah, they're incredible, but they do feel boxy, and they are kind of enclosed in some spots. I mean, it's all just hallways through these main areas. But I mean, if you open it up more, you get stuff on the side. I mean, the way they did the Icon class, Icon was incredible in how they did that. I mean, they've got the big long hallways, and they took what was good about the promenades. They took about on the Oasis class, but they improved upon it. They opened it up, made it bigger, made it wider, but they also made it multi-level to where you've got all your shops, all the other stuff, the side entertainment pieces at the bottom, and then you got all the restaurants down up at the top, and then of course more venues and stuff like that up top too. So I mean, like, the promenade on Icon never felt busy, no matter how crowded it actually was.
What they should do is either do it 1 or 2 decks, like this promenade type thing, but have it one of the decks connect to like an outside promenade area.
Go straight out to the split superstructure, like straight out, like walk out through doors.
Right.
That would be awesome. Kind of like
Instead of,
how
this Icon really just has like that one little area, like where those windows are. But if you did like the whole like thing you were able to access and have like restaurants and shops and stuff like in certain areas, that would be so cool.
And if they put the waterfront, those big open decks on the side of the ships too,
That'd be great.
that would be amazing.
Yeah.
Because like Icon, honestly, they did it pretty good. I mean, it's not level for level. Like, you don't walk straight from the Central Park. You have to go through an elevator bank. I mean, that part of the ship, you're gonna have to put an elevator bank in there regardless. So it can't just be like a wall separating one from the other. Like, you're gonna have to put elevators in. But they did it pretty good to where they have that lower part of Surfside, and there's a stairs that go straight up, or you can continue on. There's just a tiny little landing area for that staircase, and then you got a shop and playmakers off to the side as you go through the door again. So I mean, they did it pretty good, and I think if Norwegian did something like that similarly, make it one flat instead of going from Central Park on deck 8 to deck 6 onto Surfside. Like, I mean, if you just made it deck 8 all the way through and just had that little tiny enclosed area for the staircase and the elevator banks, that would be awesome.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, if it wasn't really required to put the elevators and staircases there, that would be so cool just to put a wall that separates the two areas. I mean, they could. I mean, if it have to be a lot smaller of an area, it couldn't be quite the extent of Central Park and Boardwalk Surfside, but I mean, they could technically do it.
True. And I mean, I guess that kind of segues. Norwegian's pretty good about tendering. Like when we were in Europe, that was the most organized I had ever seen tendering because a lot of the ports were tendering. But segueing to the island, they got to get a pier. You can't tender from an Oasis class size ship. They got to get that island done before these ships even make. And obviously, I know that's going to be done next year, but
yeah,
hopefully they don't mess that up either, because then they're going to have 5, 6, 7,000 people on that island. How it's looking right now, that ain't going to be working out. They
need to just bite their tongues and do something like Carnival or Royal
experiences. They got to do experiences.
So I know. So there was the developer that I guess they did like a somewhat of an expansion or that improvement or a renovation to the islands. You know, maybe 5, 6 years ago or something like that, where they added those big beach villas and stuff like that there.
Mm-hmm.
I know there's talks from the developer of that or the contractors for that are saying there was a phase 2 eventually, or like an additional phase of that, which did include the pier. So I wonder if maybe that just hasn't been announced yet, or maybe that, you know, I mean, they could probably get started on it pretty soon here. And I mean, to the extent of what they're going to do, I don't know. But if they could put a water park in there, that'd be pretty awesome.
Yeah, they're going to need to.
Yeah.
And the island itself is like 2 times the size of Coco Cay, so they have plenty of room to spread things out.
They got so much real estate to work with compared to Coco Cay. Coco Cay,
that's the thing in their favor for sure.
Yeah, they did everything really well with Coco Cay. I love what they did, but I think from the aspect of Norwegian, they could do like a 1-to-1 of Coco Cay over on their island right next door, and they'd still have another half of the island to go.
Yeah.
So like they just have a lot more space to work with. So I mean, they could do, you know, a big water park, you know, an adults only area and stuff like that. But they also already have these giant luxurious beach villas as well that they've already done. And they already have a zip line.
Yeah, so it would really just have to be, they could do it like on the complete opposite end of the island, and that way the construction really doesn't like interfere with, you know, everyday operations.
Right.
And then build like a little like tram that connects it, like that goes specifically to that area.
Right.
So then not only do you feel like you're like secluded from everything, but then you can always, you know, fill in that gap in the future with other expansion plans, and then, you know, have different like tram stops. So I think that'd be pretty cool. They added like a water park that's like kind of away from the main area, like the relaxing area. And then just made that like its own little area on the island.
Yeah, and then if you put the water park over there on the opposite side of the island, then you have, you know, the taking into consideration the, you know, there's probably people that say, oh, well, it's going to be too loud there. There's going to be too many screaming people. You know, all the noise that comes with a water park. If you have them on opposite sides of the island, it's separated. Perfect.
Right.
I mean, yeah, there's not really that many problems with it in Coco Cay because they did it pretty well. It's all divided up pretty well.
Right.
But, you know, just taking that in consideration, you know, the noise factor of it, you know, if you split it up, there's so many different things that they could do here with Great Stirrup Cay now.
It's exciting. I'm super excited. I wasn't too fond of NCL's habits recently, but
I think they're taking a step in the right direction as long as they can improve their pricing structure.
Yeah, they have my attention.
They absolutely have.
Well, they have the market kind of cornered because they do the like everything included. Because you go in Royal Carnival, you got to add the drink package, and you know it's another $500. And
that is one thing I do like.
You see up front, and it's like they have that market cornered where, oh, I can just book them. I don't have to do anything. I get the special guy, I get the drinks, I get everything.
I do like that because actually so for our cruise that we have on the Joy coming up, well, not coming up, but in 2026, we had put reservations in for the same exact week. We were doing the Norwegian Joy or the Carnival Celebration. Celebration was like, I don't know, barely $800 for that week, we're like, oh, that's definitely the better price. But we're going to pay, I think we're probably just north of $1,000, maybe closer to $1,100. This is obviously per person with the Joy for the week, but with the $800 that we would have paid for the Celebration, it was just the cruise, nothing. So you would have spent an additional probably close to $400 alone. So you're already looking at $1,200, roughly,
extra stuff
for that, just to get the drink package if we were to, and not required to get it. But taking into consideration that we're now having that included on our Joy cruise, we probably paid closer to $1,200 a person for the Celebration, just for part of what we were getting for the Joy. Because now the Joy also included in, I don't know the exact number, but it's probably around north of $1,000, maybe $1,100 per person. But we got 2 free specialty dining nights. The drink package is included with all the gratuities for the drink package included. And we have a $50 shore excursion credit and free Wi-Fi, or at least a small, I think they do it by like minutes. So it's not like 100%,
150 minutes.
150 minutes. So that's included. Now I don't have to spend over $100 in Wi-Fi like I would do on a 7-night cruise for Royal Caribbean or Carnival. That's included. All my drinks are included, alcohol, sodas, whatever I want, and we have gratuities included in that too. So like, I mean, in that sense, honestly, like I do at kind of like one of those cruise people that I guess the actual cruise lines
custom
agents. Yeah.
Oh, there he is.
You're back.
Oh, I guess my Wi-Fi cut for a minute there, but yeah, I actually talked to like one of those, the like cruise line specific agents, I guess. And he kind of like broke it all out for me. I was like, all right, I'm going to be completely honest. I have a reservation for Celebration here too. And he goes, oh, that's a nice ship. I was like, yeah, I know. But he's like, well,
me twice.
I was like, yeah. I was like, all right, you're not helping yourself out here. What are you going to follow that up with? Then he broke it all out. And I was like, all right, that's all right. I'm in. Like, it's perfect.
Yeah.
Like I didn't like the $1,100 price tag compared to $800, but when you factor all that in, I was gonna have to pay all that in the first place when I go on the Celebration.
Mm-hmm.
So that's one thing that I do like that NCL does. The price tag upon booking doesn't look good, but when you get on board and kind of like how the guy talked to me about it, he's like, honestly, you're not gonna have, unless you buy everything in the gift shop, which I probably will. And I even said, I was like, oh no, don't worry, I probably will. He's like, honestly, unless you buy anything in the gift shop, you're really not going to have much to pay for when you get on the ship. Even your gratuities are included. Everything's included now. That's as close to all inclusive as you can get now.
Yeah, it'll be nice in the long run, like you said, once we get on board.
Yeah.
So I'm excited. Norwegian Joy.
Yeah, and I'm kind of like, I'm interested in Aqua now just because of that, because the prices are expensive, but they're not terrible, I guess, when you consider all of that too. So I mean, I do really want to try this Prima class just to get like an idea, because I mean, I hear all the people talk about it. I mean, she is going to be in Canaveral, but I'm not going to be able to go on it when it's Canaveral. I have a few too many cruises booked for next year, but know, it is what it is. But I think this new project is very exciting, especially now that they're going to have most likely some improvements with Great Stirrup Cay. I think they're going to really start competing with Coco Cay and the Oasis class. Again, I think these are going to be probably as closest to the Oasis class that we've ever seen before.
Yeah. It's going to be a cool...
I mean, there's so many things to go off of. Let's see what Carnival comes out with. I mean, obviously, MSC is already doing it. I think they're going to be very successful when they do come here to, like, Miami.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's going to do really well for them, because a lot of people love those, like, World Europa and stuff. So I haven't heard really anything bad.
Yeah, I do hear a lot of really good things about it.
Too.
Maybe NCL learned that they need to bring their new big ships to Miami.
I was just going to say, this first one is absolutely... Norwegian, if you're
Has
listening
to.
to this, anybody at Norwegian, if you're listening to this, it needs to go to Miami. As much as I like to preach, bring it to Canaveral because it's closer to me. That ship needs to go to Miami.
Yes.
And they're already ahead. They've got a new terminal.
They've already got the terminal for it.
Yeah.
They've got the terminal for it. They've got everything there for it. They need to put it there.
Just design. So what they need to do is they need to put it in Miami and design even the interior stuff to Miami or just that kind of vibe.
Well, they did that with Getaway.
Miami ship. Right, like what they did with Getaway. Sure.
They did do a really good job with Getaway, and looking back now that the ship has not been based out of Miami in years. It's about to start doing short cruises, which I'm actually really excited for out of Miami. Which we should
great.
We should look at that. But yeah, I mean that was a Miami ship. There was even like Miami Dolphin stuff like in some of the showcases, like in like I think as you walk out into the Spice H2O area, there was like Miami Dolphin stuff in like the little glass cases, and I'm like, all right, yeah, this is an absolutely Miami ship. But now
that's cool.
you take it up to New York. I mean, people up in New York aren't gonna like the Miami Dolphins, are they?
No,
go Dolphins, not. But like people in New York, people in New York don't think that.
Isn't Pitbull like the godfather for that ship?
Yeah, that too.
The Escape.
Or no, the Escape. Yeah.
I was on the ship. Yeah. Was filming that music video.
Oh, that's sick.
Yes.
I got a picture of him by accident.
You got a picture of him by accident?
No picture.
Tilt your camera a little bit to the left, like this. Sorry, Rachel just texted me. Like this.
Here, I can.
Or the other way.
Oh yeah, you are cut off. Move your camera to your left.
There, I just moved.
There you
leave
go.
it. I just
keep moving it just a little bit
you.
more.
She said more.
Oh, there you go. Hey, Rachel.
Like this? All right, she said yes.
Rachel,
right.
Rachel, we're working.
That. Well, now in my view, I'm like off to the right.
Yeah, no, it's not centered. Fine. I've got it all screwed around with in the streaming software, but yeah.
When I try and put a hat on, I can never get it straight.
Oh my god, it's so fun. Looking back at some of the Coco K videos, and it's even funnier because Justin's got a drink in his hand, so it looks 10 times worse. But his hat, he could never put a hat on straight. I don't know what it is. It's the funniest thing. So Justin's always got a drink in his hands and the hat going the complete opposite direction. Hat. Yeah. It's the funniest thing. If you ever look at the videos or like go back and look at vlogs, it's so funny. Rachel's in the chat says gangster vibes.
Gangster vibes.
That's awesome.
So funny.
That's so funny.
Get out of the chat, babe. Go do something else.
Be nice.
Anyways, back on topic.
Let me know when you're coming home.
But yeah, like I mean, they've got a lot of things that they could do. I think with all this real estate that they're gonna have on this 200,000 ton ship. We didn't really talk about really what we could expect or anything like that, but I was just kind of like going off of what they've already done and what the competition's done, and where the industry's going. And I mean, I feel like this is gonna be a really promising project. Of course, hopefully they do it well and they execute well, which is something I've been saying about Margaritaville, but which is complete opposite. But
they better. I'm so excited.
They better.
They just better.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of opportunity here with Norwegian Cruise Line, and I it's weird to compare the two, and they're for completely different reasons. But I say the exact same thing about Margaritaville: is there's a lot of opportunity with the Margaritaville at Sea Islander, and there's also a lot of opportunity with the 200,000 ton ships from Norwegian. It's the execution that I'm a little concerned about. I'm definitely a lot less concerned when it comes to Norwegian than I am Margaritaville, because Norwegian does not have a ship called Margaritaville at Sea Paradise. So Norwegian has proven themselves to be able to create very, very good ships in the past, so I'm not worried about it. But I think if they execute this very well, like they did with the Breakaway Plus ships, and hopefully they execute well with these Prima Plus class ships, if that's what they're going to call them, I think,
they'll be in good shape.
They're going to be in really good shape here in the future.
Aqua looks pretty good. So
Aqua looks great. I am 100% down to go on the Aqua, by the way.
Okay.
Say less.
You have to watch what I say. Rachel's in the chat.
Rachel, just mute your audio or leave. Sorry, Rachel.
Leave. Definitely not booking a cruise.
We're planning something.
We're brainstorming.
The Pookies are going on a cruise.
Cookies are going away.
You'll get a week of good sleep without Justin snoring. How about that? That's your trade-off.
It is true. That's a good offer right there.
But I think the Aqua is very promising looking. I think it looks really good. I'm excited for that ship. Yeah, it's funny because I've already started talking about. Oh, it's funny how I've been doing so much Royal Caribbean over the last couple of years, and I've kind of Carnival is going to be my cruise line next year. I think everything but Star of the Seas, which is up in the air due to pricing. I don't know if I want to spend $3,000 for a 7-night cruise when I could go on the Celebration 3 times for that price or for cheaper.
I'm with you on that.
But the Star of the Seas is my only Royal Caribbean cruise next year so far, and I've also got 4 Carnival cruises next year. But 2026, if it turns into my Norwegian year, I wouldn't be opposed.
We have 4 Carnival cruises next year.
Okay, so we got Venezia.
Right.
You got Venezia.
That was Glory and Freedom, right?
Venezia, Glory, okay, yeah. What else do we have booked then? Wait. We definitely for some reason I thought we had 4 Carnival cruises booked.
We have Venezia, Glory, Star, and then Freedom. That's it.
You want to change that?
I don't know, man.
Anyway,
you guys are going to the same places a couple times.
I'm getting married. I gotta buckle down here.
Oh boy, he does.
But they put
his big boy pants on.
My life is over, boys. It's been fun.
But yeah, it's anyways, back to this is how it works. This is how cruises get booked, by the way, for anybody listening. This literally goes me jokingly saying, "Well, do you want to change that?" Yeah.
And then the next thing you know,
it's booked. He's sending me a deposit through Venmo. But anyways, I think Norwegian Cruise Line's got a lot of promising things coming in the future. I think the Aqua and later are going to be really, really good. I'm excited to see what comes out of the Prima class, and I hope they take what's good about the Prima class and what they've learned from it. And I hope they apply that to the new ships as well as what they've did really well with the Breakaway Plus ships.
Yeah, for sure. I'm feeling a lot better about Norwegian recently. Yeah. So
I have faith. Yeah, I was definitely a little agitated with Norwegian, how they've been doing things lately, as long as they kind of improve their pricing. I know, of course, like we talked about, the whole inclusive stuff that they have, maybe a little bit more competitively priced with the other cruise lines or things like that. I don't know, but I think they've got a lot of good things ahead of them. I think if they continue on this path that they're on.
Yeah, for sure.
Cool.
100%.
So with that, any closing statements, boys?
No.
Right.
No, I think we kind of covered everything.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be very interesting. I wonder if they're gonna, because I know with Project Leonardo they showed him off like shortly after they announced it. So I wonder if we're gonna get the same thing, or if we're gonna get a Project Icon where they announce it and then 10 years later they finally show us 10 years later. Well, I mean,
it's still 6 years out till the first one, and they I don't want to say they didn't really announce it. Like, I found it like a day later.
Yeah, they did.
So it was like very soft.
They ordered and announced Project Leonardo within about a few weeks of each other, but that was in 2017, and they just got their first ship in 2021. So 2022. So it's possible that we see it this early. Who knows?
I doubt it.
I doubt it, but that's
I think we'll see more things about the island before we see things about the ship.
That too, I think so. And of course, you also have just so many other newer ships coming out. They've still got 4 coming, and they're going to be bigger and better than the last set. So
right.
They could
at least they're pumping ships out.
Exactly.
Unlike Carnival, which is taking their diddly daddly time.
Carnival will be by the end of the decade. They're going to be up there. I feel like by the Royal Caribbean right now has such a stronghold on the industry. Like, they're running away with it. But by the end of the decade, Norwegian and Carnival are both going to be right back up there like they were pre-COVID.
Good.
And
it'll be good.
And Norwegian can't afford to mess up with MSC coming right up behind them.
Yeah, that too. I mean, if they don't execute well with these, MSC is going to overtake them by 2030. So
Yeah.
yeah, so
100%.
it'll be interesting to see what they do. But
Yep.
But yeah, we'll go ahead and put a stop on the podcast there. Thank you guys for hanging out as always. Thanks for coming back out, Dimitri, and thanks for coming as always, Justin.
No
Thanks for
problem,
having me.
sir.
All right, and thank you for everybody who's listening on whatever platform it is, Apple, Spotify, or whatever, those listening in the live stream or later on YouTube. Thanks for hanging out all the way to this point. We'll see you guys next week for our next podcast. Have a good night.
Good night.
Peace out.
Or good morning.